The North East region is built on its natural resources and it's also built on innovation as well. The first industrial revolution started in the north. It started with coal and steam, and then that carried through into the big industries of the early part of the 20th century as well. And all of that continued with the development of the UK's industrial economy in the 1960s and 70s. And we've got massive chemicals and steel and automotive clusters now in the northeast. And so this kind of real work ethic and innovation and the kind of community culture and spirit really combine to make a success of these industries. I think what we need to recognise in terms of the northeast is that there is this really strong heritage and tradition of engineering, but one that carries forward into the future. So I live in Sunderland, and just next door is Nissan, which is the biggest car producer in the UK. It makes more cars than all of Italy, and 80% of these cars are exported around the world. The northeast is a natural home of exporters. We're the only part of the UK that has a positive balance of trade. People really have a very strong global outlook, and that's why I think the northeast needs to be recognised as a real centre for innovation and engineering. We're standing at the cusp of a new industrial revolution now, an industrial revolution that's going to be built on new digital technologies, and there is a threat in this as well. It will take away some of the jobs that used to exist in the past, but the jobs that will be successful, the people that will be successful, are the ones who can combine skills such as engineering and science with digital skills as well. And these are the skills that are really important for the future. I'm telling my children it's important for them, and actually it's important for everybody's children, so that they can be successful and find a really enjoyable working life in the future. So 150 years ago, the northeast started the industrial revolution with the first passenger railway from Stockton to Darlington, but that wasn't the end of the story. So right now in the northeast, we've got amazing innovation centres in Newcastle developing technologies in life sciences and ageing, in Sedgefield in Darlington looking at photonics for cures for diabetes, in my own research institute in Middlesbrough tackling climate change in heavy industry. These technologies are being developed in the northeast, and they're being developed to solve big world problems, and that's how the northeast is continuing to contribute to supporting the development of people around the world. When we think about skills gaps, I think most people think about educating young people leaving school, getting them ready for the workforce, and you know that is really important, but there's one part of the skills gap people don't talk about, and it's re-education, retraining of people who are in work. So as this new technological revolution reaches us, it means that there are jobs appearing that have never been there before, and jobs disappearing that were once very highly valued. And what we need to do is help people transition from one set of jobs to the other. So for me, investing in retraining, helping people have 2, 3, 4 really good careers in their life, that's an important priority. The success of places and regions is often dependent on the institutions that they have to support them. I'm standing now in one of the really great institutions of the North East, the Pitman's Parliament, part of the Durham Miners Association. But we're thinking also of what was the Mining Institute, what's now the Common Room in Newcastle, which is going through an amazing transformation. It started life as a hub for creativity and innovation, and that role is needed now. This investment will enable the Common Room to take on this new role for the new industrial revolution and be a real crucible of ideas and knowledge sharing so that we can get a kickstart for these new technologies for the future. Sometimes we can get a bit too fixated on a single building, but what's really important is that we engage people. In fact, this is all about people. The Common Room project is about providing a hub that's in Newcastle, but you know, we have to think in the North East. We've got people who don't travel so far, who don't have the means to go to Newcastle. There is quite a distance between places like Teesside and Tyneside, and so it's important that engineers like myself, the business leaders, the people working and who have knowledge in these areas get out, they share the opportunities, they give people the opportunities to participate in the debate, to understand how their lives could be transformed by these technologies, but how they can participate in these technologies as well. Sometimes the place where you hold a meeting or hold an event has a particular resonance with the event, and certainly I, for one, can be inspired by the thoughts of the people who've been there and what they've achieved in the past. So in the common room, for instance, we can think about the great engineers of the past, the people who sat there, who discussed new technologies and new opportunities, and that maybe particularly for children, for young people coming through, they can think that could be me one day. And that's why I think it's a great idea that these rooms are now open and available for people to use for their own events. The world is changing, and engineers change the world. So if you're someone like me who does want to get out there and change the world, then there's a simple way to do it: go and be an engineer.